Welcome to the Dumb Idea Podcast with Mike and Alex. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the show. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share this video or podcast on any platform that you're listening on. Please visit us at www.dumbideapodcast.com. All right, welcome back to another episode. Thank you for coming this week. Before we get started, I want to talk about private internet access. Make sure you go to the Dumb Idea. Don't even know my own website. I think this is the second time in 4 episodes I've done this. Go to dumbideapodcast.com. On the right-hand side, you'll see a banner for private internet access. In this day and age, you can never be too safe on the internet. Protecting our information, especially if you input anything online, like if you fill out forms or credit card information online, a VPN that encrypts your data as you're sending it through the interweb is a good thing to have, because they do take your credit card information, they do take your social security number, your address, all of your identifying information, and they do sell it on the dark web. It's happened to me. Luckily, my bank worked with us. We got our money back. And luckily, we haven't had anyone take out loans in our name. But having a VPN, having your internet secured with a secure connection, private internet access is the one that I use. I've used it for more than 3 years. And it's really easy to use. It works on my phone, my laptop. I can even use it on my streaming devices. It works on my wife's iPhone. Very easy. One click turns on. When I'm done with entering my information, one click I turn it off if I feel the need. And it's just really easy to use. So go to dumbideapodcast.com, click on the ad on the right-hand side for private internet access, and you can get a VPN for less than $2.50 a month. We were going to talk about cars a little bit, just because I'm in the market for a car.
You're always in the market for a car.
I got cars that I had some old cars. Then I had too many cars. Then I have enough cars. I buy used cars, and sometimes those used cars have issues. So like with the Kia Cadenza, which nobody even knows what that thing is. But it's a nice large sedan from Kia, but had a little bit of a timing belt chain guide whatever issue. Turned it on, clink, 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 and then it settled down. The temperature finally tensioned, and it made everything run right. Well, of course, I didn't like the sound of it. Didn't want to have to deal with anything if it went south, and that was like right at the beginning of the pandemic, and online used car dealers were paying out the nose for cars at the time. So I had a car that was upside down on 3 months earlier, went and checked again. All of a sudden, they're paying me out of the car, and I can get out of this thing for nothing, so I did. But then that left me with a 2008 Saturn Vue, which ran great for about 9 months. Right before I'm about to tow it behind an RV, things decided to just squeal like a pig and just puff smoke and stall. So I went from having too many cars to not enough cars at that point. So that's when I ended up getting the Chevy Equinox, which does what it needs to do. It's a utilitarian vehicle, gets me where I got to go. Hasn't broken down on me yet. In fact, I think in 1 year, I'm running up on almost 1 year of having that car. I have 5,000 miles on it. I haven't even broken 5,000 miles. That's how little I drive that thing.
Sell that one now.
Yeah. You know what? I think if I sold it now, I could probably get what I paid for it.
Yeah.
Almost. I think I could. Which, let's not put that past me. But that's not the car I'm talking about right now. My wife's car is a 2013 Ford Edge Limited. We really like that car. We bought it used. I think we bought it in 2017. So it was about 3 years old, maybe 18, so maybe 4 years old. We've had it for about 4 years. We bought it with about 60,000 miles. It's got 88,000 miles on it. Mm-hmm. So in 4 years, we put 22,000 miles on this thing. Like we don't, and we just drove it to Florida
Yeah.
and back, and it still only has like 87,000 miles on this thing. But yeah, it's starting to have some more issues. Stupid stuff, like the rear door sensor always thinks the door's open. Right now, you can drive it like that, no problem.
Does it chime at you?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not at all. But the only thing it does is at night, the overhead lights won't go off until you've driven like until you get like 10 revolutions on the tires.
Okay.
Then the light will finally dim and go off.
Yeah.
Or even at night, if you unlock or lock it, the lights take a little bit while to go dim. Not a big deal. It doesn't drain the battery, is what it is. But their other issue is, in my mechanical point of view, because I'm a mechanic and I know exactly what's going on. Apparently there's an issue with the Ford Duratec V6 engine in that you fill it with gas and there's something with the purge valve, and I'm going to sound like I know what I'm talking about, but I probably don't. Something goes wrong with the purge valve. Basically, it'll go from like 600 RPM at idle, dip down to like 3, so it sounds like it's going to shutter and shut off, but then it pops back up to 6 at idle, and it keeps doing that, but it only does it like the first 2 times after you've turned the car on. But after you drive for like 15 minutes, if I were to stop at a stoplight, it wouldn't do it again until the next time I fill the car up. It's a weird issue, and it's probably not catastrophic, but like we're starting to have those types of issues. Now, keep in mind, we already replaced the alternator on it. We had to replace the blend door actuator, like stupid stuff like this.
Well, it's probably something you'd put up with if you were a college kid and that was your car. You just deal with, like, my college car was an 87 Camaro, and I actually had 2 of them, but the first one was carbureted. So, like, it would do stuff like when I shut it off, like the engine wouldn't stop. It would just kind of like, they call it dieseling. And it would kind of like, the engine was running, but kind of, it was weird. So it was a manual. So in order to like shut it down, I would just put the car into gear and just let the clutch out, and it would stall.
Right.
But would I put up with that now? Absolutely not.
Right.
When I was a college kid and that was the only thing I had, yeah, I can deal with that. The check engine light on, can I deal with that? Yeah, sure, why not? Rattles. I mean, the car had a broken seat, driver's seat, that I ended up getting parts for at a junkyard and fixing it. It leaked. It had T-tops, so like any vehicle with T-tops, it leaked.
Right.
But I mean, I put up with all that. But would I put up with that now? So no. So
Right.
So I get it.
I mean, so with this car, like I was like, all right, we've had it for a while. It's been good to us, but we still like it. Maybe I should look into trading it in. Now, I've had this experience, right, where I'm trying to think of the right wording. I was forced into buying a car, and I looked on the used car market, and the used car market was ridiculous. And so for first time in a really long time, I'd say probably 10, 12 years or so, I looked at new cars. But I had a very specific use case. There were only like 3 cars I could choose from and be able to tow it 4 flat behind the RV. Chevy Equinox, Chevy Trailblazer. No, sorry, wrong one. Chevy Equinox, Jeep Cherokee, and I forgot what the third one was. But anyway, another Ford Edge. We could have done that. Anyway, we decided to go with the Equinox. So I was like, okay, let me look at Equinoxes. It ended up being like a $3,000 difference between a 3-year-old used one with 36,000 miles on it and a brand new one. So of course we went brand new. Okay, now it just made financial sense. Problem is, with this one, we're trying to go bigger. Now, we would normally just keep this thing, and we still might, but we've been saying how we would like to have a 3rd row. Kids are getting older. Carpooling is starting to happen. The Edge really can only take on 1 additional kid in the middle of the back seat.
Yeah.
Whereas if we had something bigger like a Traverse, Enclave that we used to have, third row, plenty of space. Adults can fit in that third row. Problem is, a Chevy Traverse, an LT, so not the LS, but the LT, or even, I think the LS, $51,000 MSRP. And that's if you can find it at MSRP.
Right, you're probably going to find it at $5,000 over. So.
Probably, yeah. Yeah. And so, I'm just like, what do I do? Like, don't get me wrong, that's not the only game in town. I can go for a Honda Pilot. I can go for a Toyota Highlander. It's that class of vehicle.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, those Chevy Traverse, Buick Enclave, they're the biggest inside of all of them. I looked at a Kia Telluride. Kia Telluride, the one we were looking at, was like $48,000 MSRP. But they're not taking MSRP.
Now, are you looking for all-wheel drive, or are you looking at front drivers?
I can do front drive. I'm not opposed
so
to that.
And this is what people yell at me for this, and you might, and I'll take it. If you're going to buy a front-wheel drive Pilot, buy an Odyssey.
Right.
And, I'll never have a minivan. I'll tell you what, I have a Toyota Sienna. It is the nicest car I've ever owned.
Yep.
You can just kill miles in it. It's, I will say that the Sienna loves to chew up front tires, because it's a big, heavy front drive vehicle, and it's got a relatively powerful engine for, I think it's putting out 285 horsepower out of just a V6. It's a minivan.
Sure.
So I guess people like the look of the SUV, but when you really boil it, like Chevrolet doesn't have a minivan anymore. They used to market when they first came out with the Traverse. The front wheel drive was supposed to be kind of like the minivan. It just had regular hinge doors rather than sliders. So yeah, and you can even get the Sienna in all wheel drive now. So you always could.
So we were looking into that. Now my wife will not drive the minivan. Won't drive it.
I'll rock the hell out of a minivan.
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
She'll drive the Equinox. I'll drive a minivan.
Yeah.
So then I started looking at minivans. Minivans aren't cheap.
No.
This is not a $40,000 vehicle. I was looking at like the Kia Carnival. $55,000.
Oh yeah, for a Kia.
For a
minivan.
But the Honda Odyssey, no different.
Oh yeah.
Sienna, no different.
So when we bought, now we have a 17. So the sticker on that, it's an SLE premium. So it's the Limited's the highest trim level.
Right.
So the SLE premium is one below that. And I want to say the sticker on it was like $43,017. We didn't pay that. It was end of model year. So we got a good deal on it. But it doesn't matter now. No one's getting good deals on anything right now. So
right. That's the issue, right? You can't get a deal. Now, it's to the point where even like the manufacturers and Ford and GM are doing this, where they're contacting dealers and letting them know if you're gouging customers, it's going to change your allocations for the most desirable cars.
Yeah.
For example, like a C8 Corvette, if a Chevy dealership is gouging on like a Tahoe or an Equinox, you're not getting the C8 Corvettes.
Yeah.
Or with Ford, they're saying you're not going to get Broncos and you're not going to get F-150 Lightnings.
Yeah. Which
is the electric pickup.
Which I think is cool.
Right.
Because it has a frunk.
Yeah.
Like a usable frunk.
Sure. So they're basically saying, knock the crap off. But that's only two brands that are doing it.
Yeah.
Now, luxury vehicles, on the other hand, aren't selling as hot as the mainstream brands. So they can't really jack it up as much unless it's like a supercar or something. Yeah. But like your Lexus ES is not really going for like $12,000 over MSRP.
Right.
You might be going for like 3 or 4. And then some brands really aren't doing that much at all. Like Toyotas are pretty much going for MSRP, maybe 1,000 over.
Yeah.
But so there are brands you can go with new cars. When it comes to used cars, though, you're paying through the nose. For example, I the reason why I was kind of quiet there was because I was looking at Kelley Blue Book for the trade-in value on my Edge. Keep in mind, this is a 9-year-old car, 88,000 miles, SUV, front-wheel drive. I should maybe get 7 for this thing. Kelley Blue Book just went on there, and this is probably going to be low because people are paying out the nose for these things. 10 to 12 grand. 12 grand.
Yeah.
Imagine what they're going to sell it for.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even if they gave me 12, tomorrow, with little recondition, they might fix that sensor. They'll do something with the purge valve, clean it out, whatever. They'll flip that car and they'll put it on their lot for 16 or 17.
Yeah.
And someone's going to pay that. 88,000 miles for a 9-year-old car.
Yeah. And
blows my mind.
Yeah. And I've got a vehicle that I'm not really driving, and I'm making payments on it, and I could get rid of it. And I thought of, like, okay, well, if I get rid of it. In fact, I was so convinced I was going to get rid of it. The tags died in December, and I didn't renew them. I just parked it in the top of the driveway, and it sat there for a month. And then my wife hit something on the road, taking the kids to school, and blew out a tire. So then I was glad that we had that car there. I went online and renewed the tags real fast. Said, "All right, you're good to go." But because I thought about getting rid of it, but I like having the third vehicle there. And if I were to get rid of it now, I'd make the most money off of it. But if I wanted to get something else, I'd be going and spending a lot more money on something else. Now, ultimately, I'd replace it with a truck. It could be an older one, but even those things are going for stupid money.
Used trucks are crazy.
Yeah, and I was excited a couple of years ago, a year ago, because I knew that Toyota was doing a redesign on the Tundra. So I figured, I think it's for the 23 model year. So that I'll go buy a 22 Tundra new, because when they change over, they sell the old ones for like nothing that they still have.
Right.
But if there's something there, they're not selling it for nothing. It's going for over MSRP. And when you're talking a Tundra, I mean, I'm not even talking like a TRD Pro, like just a regular Tundra, 50 grand. Like, no thanks. I'm not spending that kind of money. I'm not coming out for a third vehicle.
Yeah.
I'm not a rapper.
No. Right. And like, what do you... The third vehicle is awesome. For people that don't have one, if you only need 2 and you have a third, like if you got to take one into the shop, having that third vehicle is invaluable.
Oh yeah, well no, it was great. When the Sienna went in for tires, I got alignment done, and I got the I also had them do because I got the maintenance package. I just do the PM, do the tires, do the alignment, do everything. Just it can sit there for a while. I'm in no rush because I have this third vehicle that we're not driving.
Right.
What we are now. But that was nice to have that option there. Even if that third vehicle is an old beater, it's still nice to have it sitting there that you can just, okay, I'm going to drive this now.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, if we talked about this last time I was looking for a car. It's like, if you're looking to buy a car, what do you do now? You're either going to, if you buy a used car now, and all of a sudden they ramp up the chip production, new cars start coming off, like the supply goes up, right? Mm-hmm. Supply of new cars goes up. Supply of used cars then goes up. Mm-hmm. Because people can now afford, like they're not going to be able to charge over MSRP. Basically, people are going to trade in cars. It's going to push the value of everything down.
Yeah.
So let's say you buy the car now. You're already, when you roll off the lot, you're already $4 or $5 grand underwater anyway.
Right.
Difference of trade-in value versus retail value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the second that car's titled, it's worth you took a hit.
So now imagine you buy a car, 3 months later, chip production comes back, your car value goes down even further.
Yeah.
So you went from $4 grand in the hole to like 8.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're $8 grand underwater on that car. You're not going to come close to that for at least 4 years.
Yeah.
and you're stuck with that car.
Yeah, you better like that car.
Right. and that's the thing though. I mean, if people that buy them and hold on to them, not that big of a deal, right? But like, for example, a 2011 Chevy Traverse LT with 55,000 miles, retail 16.1.
Mm-hmm.
That car is 11 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, that blows my mind. If I were to go buy that car and everything kind of went south, even if it inched south for the next 6 months, as far as prices go, that car that I would owe $15,000 on in that 6 months is now worth trade-in 10 or 11.
Mm-hmm.
Financially, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Financial sense, it makes horrible. It's a
and
horrible
then,
choice.
Depending on how long you stretch the payment out, so by the time you pay it off, you now own outright a 16-year-old car. And, that, when I remember when I was in college, I was going to buy a Jeep Cherokee, the original Jeep Cherokee, the cool one. And I went down, my neighbor's brother, was the salesman, and I got a pretty good deal. And then I sat there and I started thinking, at the time, I think the car was 5-6 years old, and I was going to finance it. I was like, wait, by the time I'm done paying for this car, it's going to be 11 years old, and I will have paid X amount for it. Like, no thanks. So, the Sienna is the first car we've held on to for a while. And, the kids are getting bigger, and she's starting to think, well, maybe, a Suburban or something like that's in our future. And I'm like, let's just rock the Sienna out. It's a Toyota. It's going to run forever.
Yeah.
And, even if it does come time where we decide, like, okay, we need something bigger, I might just keep the Sienna. I'll drive it.
I don't think to be honest with you, seating wise, I don't think you can find anything bigger than that.
No, the Sienna. So prior to that, we had a Town and Country, and then while we had the Sienna, someone rear-ended it, and while we were getting it fixed, our rental was a Chrysler Pacifica, which was nice, but it just felt a lot smaller. The Sienna inside's cavernous.
Right.
The thing that you run into with that is cargo. When you have the third, now it does have a decent amount of space with the third row up. Mm-hmm. When it's down, it's huge. The nice thing about a Suburban is when you or a Expedition, what is it, the EL, the long version.
Yeah.
When that third row's up, you still have a ton of cargo room back there too. So Tahoes, you have like zero with the third row up. So
yeah, but the other thing, I mean, with your Sienna though, with the third row, you have to pull the seats out, right?
No, they fall. They
fall in.
Yeah, the second row you have to pull them out.
Oh,
now the Town and Country was nice because it had stow and go, and you could drop them in to the well, and then when you weren't using those wells or anything, that was good. It was nice storage.
We rented one of those Pacificas.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, like the newer ones. Yeah, we rented a car before car rentals were ridiculous too, but we rented a Pacifica. I was impressed by it. My problem was it's a Chrysler product.
Mm-hmm.
And they're known just to have issues upon issues upon issues mechanically. Like the transmissions are junk. The engines are junk. The wiring is too small for what it needs to do.
Yeah.
The alternator isn't big enough to power the car. It's like they just cheaped out on so much. Now, this was before Stellantis came in, so maybe it's better now, but I mean, it had this throughout the brands, like between Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge, and the Ram trucks, they all had those issues where like they were just dumb mistakes that they just kept doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks because I would definitely have considered one to buy. Now, oddly enough, I know someone that has one, and they really haven't had any issues with it at all. So I'm like, well, maybe they're turning the corner, but because in the minivan game, it's Kia, Toyota, Honda, Chrysler.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone else has one.
No, because GM doesn't.
No, they went with the Traverse and
yeah.
Enclave. That's their minivan.
Yep. And Ford doesn't.
No.
So not only does Ford not have one, they don't even have anything that could be remotely considered one.
The Flex, maybe?
Yeah, which I think is super cool. Especially if you get that EcoBoost V6.
The funny part, I mean, I'm just looking at prices. I guess I'm scrolling through. I mean, a lot of these are like late model 2019, but even like a 2014 Nissan Pathfinder Platinum, that car is known to be a shit box.
Oh, that's a grenade, dude.
Exactly. 46,000 miles on it. They want 24 grand.
So when I replaced my beater with the Fusion, I was actually looking at those at the Pathfinders, and the Pathfinder price wise, I mean, I was finding them for. So this was 2000. I bought that car in 19, and I was finding like 16s for, under 20.
Yeah.
That was in my price, but I just like that CVT. I don't want to mess with it. And I also have a kind of a philosophical opposition to crossovers. I'm not a crossover guy.
Well, Nissan finally has ditched the CVT.
Yeah.
Like the new Pathfinder that just came out, dropped it. They went back to planetary gears. Mm-hmm. Because nobody was buying them.
Yeah.
Like nobody wanted a CVT in their SUV. Just
yeah.
It works great for a hybrid or an electric vehicle. Mm-hmm. That's what it's made for. It's not made for something that weighs 6,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Just not. They break so easily.
It's got a belt in it.
Yeah.
Like,
but I mean, I guess this kind of goes with a larger conversation about inflation in general. Mm-hmm. Like groceries are up. I believe they're going up about 6 or 7% per month at this point. House goods, just like random stuff, even clothing, like even staples. Like I was trying to get, I was buying some new underwear. I'm sure there's too much information for a lot of people. Love the Costco brand. You can only get the double XLs on the Costco website. Can't get it in store. Got a little tidbit for you folks out there, for you big boys out there who like the Kirkland signature underwear.
I'm an Under Armour guy, so
honestly, I guarantee if you switched over, you'd be a believer.
I don't know. I like the.
I mean, I'm not going to show you. I'm not going to. I'm not modeling this for you.
Thank you.
If you bought a 4-pack, I believe the 4-pack is like $14 or $16.
Are they cotton?
It's a mix, cotton spandex.
I don't do the cotton
Spandex though.
I do the whole Under Armour compression.
Oh, it's in the. I'm telling you, it's built in.
No, it's great.
You're like
my version is great. So,
but your version costs like $30 for a pair of underwear.
But they last 3 years. So
this Costco stuff, 6 years. 6 years.
Now, are you going through normal dude ratings where it barely retains the properties necessary to be considered a solid?
I mean, look, I threw a couple away recently that might have ripped and had some holes. So yes, I'm using the dude format. I'm going along with that.
So I have a pair of Under Armour compression shorts in my drawer. I don't wear them a lot. I wear them every now and then. That are 15 years old. And they're still running strong.
That's not everyday. These are everyday use.
They could be everyday use if I wanted them to be. I just got too fat for them.
But here's the thing. These are everyday use lasting 6 years.
Yes, these are the Under Armour 6-inch boxer compression version.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, you gotta buy a pack. Look, $16.
I don't trust it.
It's a pack of beer.
Don't trust it.
It's a pack of beer.
And they never have my size.
They got the doubles?
Not big enough.
Ah.
Yeah.
They're stretchy.
I got the hockey butt. So.
But my inflation index going by the Costco underwear. Luckily, Costco, I mean, that we plug Costco so much you would think that they were the sponsor instead of private internet access.
And I don't even have I don't even have a membership, and I love it.
It's great.
I have Sam's Club. I'm going to say stupid because I'm going to have someone after me, but I have Sam's Club, and Costco is just far superior to Sam's Club in every way. And it's just the convenience that Sam's Club is just right down the road. And I have to go all the way to Glen Burnier
yeah.
for Costco, which I will drive there. I don't have a problem. It's the other half that has a problem with. She doesn't see all the logic in this.
You guys drive to New York, but she won't go to Glen Burnier for some savings?
I think I'm just going to do it.
You should.
I'm just going to go join. And I was like, well, I didn't get your membership because you didn't want to go there. See, I enjoy going there too.
It's an experience.
Yeah. And they have the snack bar is far superior. The Costco pizza is actually good.
It's not,
They have, what is it? The foot-long hot dog and a Coke for $1.50. You can't beat that. That's the cheapest lunch in town.
It's a real hot dog.
Yeah.
It's an all-beef hot dog.
And they have that little machine that you can crank that the onions come out of.
Yes. They do. I get excited over little stuff.
It's just the best.
I love that little onion. I want to go buy one of those to have in my house.
Yeah.
Except I don't know what the heck it is, and I don't know where to find it.
Yeah.
If I could just crank some onions out whenever I want, some finely diced onions whenever I want.
I'm sure Amazon has it.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
rather than having to chop them like a pioneer.
Yeah, right. Well, I got the slap chop. I was waiting for you. Like, you looked at me like, slap chop? What is... Oh, I remember where that is. like, you clicked. Like, oh, my God. You got one of them?
Yeah. So I have this little thing that you put... It's got like a spinning blade set in it, but you crank it with your hand. So, like, you can do like, I'll do a bunch of garlic. I'll do onions and garlic, peppers, onions, garlic. That's mainly what I do in there.
That's that salad spinner technology.
Yeah.
With the pump.
Yeah, it's like got this, the gearing in there is crazy.
I'm not going to lie to you. I have the slap chop. I use the slap chop. I hate the slap chop.
The slap chop didn't do onions very well.
No, so, it chops. Don't get me wrong. It does what it needs to do, right? It does the onions. It does them. But it bruises my hand. Like, because like I'm going... And of course, like that ball thing is just going right into the palm every time.
Now, do you have the Pampered Chef version of it?
No, I went with actual slap chop.
So the Pampered Chef. So
I think I do.
One of our wives' friends,
Yeah.
sells Pampered Chef,
Yes.
and I bought so much of that stuff because I like to cook that she wanted me to sell it, and I'm like, I'm not selling anything.
She gonna turn you into get you into her.
No, my wife
you're
didn't want
gonna
me
get
to
the
sell
pyramid?
it. Her friend wanted me to sell it.
Yeah. She wanted you in the pyramid.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not trying to get involved in your pyramid scheme. It's like, no, it's just independent market. It's like, no, it's pyramid scheme.
That's pyramid scheme.
But this lady sells all kinds of stuff.
By the way, for pyramid schemes, if you ever want to check it out, I think Amazon has a documentary called Lulu Rich for Lulu Row.
Oh, okay.
It's fascinating.
So I knew a friend. So a friend of mine, his wife, got into that, and she had to buy like $5,000 worth of inventory.
That's the starter pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's all kinds of other stuff.
Yeah.
So like my wife did 31, and she made some money doing it. But once you exhaust your friend market, if you don't expand past that, you're not going to make any money or get someone under you.
So the key to that, if you're not gonna, nobody wants to recruit people to work for them.
Right.
Once you're down to your level, like once it gets to you, it's too late.
Yeah.
The ladies making the money are like 2 steps above you because they got like cruise upon cruise doing this thing, and they're getting kickbacks 8%, 12%, whatever. They're getting their percentage cut. What none of these people realize, and my wife's done a couple of these, and she finally found one that makes her some money because I'll kind of put it out. She does coffee.
Okay.
Well, coffee is a consumable good, right? Like 31, you buy 3 bags and you got 3 bags.
Yeah,
you don't have to replace them.
Right. Well,
right? So there's no repeat business.
Except it's junk, so you do have to replace it. But then you realize it's junk, so then you don't want to replace it.
But it's not a consumable good.
Right.
So people don't have to replace it. Like with coffee, you buy your coffee, you drink it, you need to replace it.
Yeah.
So you get people that you get return customers that way. So you can make money with the coffee business without getting anybody underneath you.
Yeah.
And that's what she does. She does it where she gets people and they sign up for like kind of like Amazon Subscribe and Save, where it comes every month.
Yeah.
So they do a subscribe and save to coffee, and they get a box of coffee every month, and she makes money. Like, so she gets the commissions off of that.
Okay.
So it's like we finally wised up, because she used to do like book sales. Okay, books are not consumable goods.
Right.
People don't always need to get books.
Yeah.
Coffee is probably one of the best ones you can get into. One, because it's addicting because of the caffeine. And two, people love it. And three, now I don't got to go to the store and pick out this or that. I find the flavor I like. This isn't burnt coffee. It's not going to like Starbucks.
Right.
You go to Starbucks, the stuff's like the beans are burnt to crap.
Yeah.
It's all right. You can get whole bean, you get already ground, whatever. But it's a consumable good. So they use it. They need more.
Yeah.
So we finally found one that she could do where she's not dependent on getting more people to sell for her to make her money. She makes her money on addicts, basically.
She's a drug dealer.
Yeah, you're basically selling cocaine.
Right.
Except a legal form of it,
Yeah.
which is coffee.
Right. No,
So if you're going to do an MLM or the pyramid scheme, go with a consumable good, people.
Now, some of the Pampered Chef stuff, I'm going to plug the Pampered Chef because I like it. I think that's a little bit, because there's enough kitchen gadgets to keep you coming back. And some of it ends up breaking, or you'll have the measuring cup, you lose one. I'm like, oh, I'll grab another one of those.
Then you get you don't just grab the one, you grab the 3-pack.
Yeah. Or they'll be like, hey, if you buy one more thing, you can get this other thing. And if you have a party and you sell this much, then you get to have a pressure cooker, which is how I got my pressure cooker, which I use the hell out of. But, yeah, so.
By the way, for people that can't see, I'm nodding along with this because we have a bunch of Pampered Chef stuff in our house.
From the same person, I'm sure.
Probably. Yeah, I don't doubt that.
Or it was from my wife's party that came from the same. She's like the mafia.
Well, so there's her, but then my wife's cousin did it also.
Okay.
So she's also a Pampered Chef, but she hasn't done it in a while.
Yeah.
But I know like years ago she did one. But then I think you're right though. I think because my wife was like, well, I need this. So, and I guess like they all know someone that's having one of those parties from that lady.
Yeah.
So like, okay, I'll just hop into this one.
It's all from the cult.
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna hop into this one. I'm gonna get what I need.
Yeah.
And that's what they do.
My wife would be like, hey, do we need any kitchen stuff? Look at the catalog, because she doesn't cook. So I'm like, oh, I want this. And we get it. But I wonder how the inflation's affecting that, because I haven't checked into it.
Yeah, I haven't either, to be honest with you. I wouldn't even be able to tell you, though, because like think about it. If you get like a baking sheet, you get like one every 6 years. I mean, you expect the price to go up, but you have no idea what you paid 6 years ago for baking sheet. So I don't even think I know.
And is that even a real, like that comparison? Does it really give you any information like 6 years ago?
No.
No,
because you expect the price to go up in 6 years. I think like cars are very, I think with the more necessary products like cars, right now they said, I think America has one of the oldest fleet of cars that they've ever had. Now keep in mind, that's pretty intense to say because cash for clunkers
got rid of a lot of stuff.
Right. And so, but that was what, 2008?
No, it wasn't 8 because Obama was elected in 8. So I want to say that was like 9. That was in response to, that was trying just to stimulate people buying stuff.
Right. That was the financial meltdown. So I'll say in 09 or 10, right?
Yeah. So somewhere in there.
So people basically traded in their old cars, got cash for clunkers because you could get money. We're getting $2,000 for almost anything.
Yeah.
And people were trading in their junk for that. But
did it even have to run?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Push it, pull it, tow it.
Yeah.
I think was the saying.
Right.
But I think people held on to their cars since then. Because 2019 was when all this car inflation started.
Yeah.
So if you bought in 2010 or 11 when they were running cash for clunkers, and you were someone who kept your car for a while, 2019 was your 8, 9, 10-year
Yeah.
mark.
Well, cars also last longer now.
Right. Well, do they?
Well,
I don't know, man. Like, I think you could make an argument for that, but I think you can make an argument for the cars today. And for me, the direct injection stuff makes cars, if you don't take care of it properly, and a lot of people don't know these things, if you don't have port injection along with direct injection, the backside of your intake valves are going to get carboned up because of the PCV valve.
yeah.
The PCV valve, basically what happens is exhaust comes out of the engine. So basically there's the explosion. I mean, you have exhaust that goes out the back through the exhaust, right? But then you also have the other soot that comes out through what they call a PCV valve, which kind of regenerates it, and it goes in the backside of the intake valves. It kind of recirculates in.
To try to burn it off further.
Correct.
Yeah.
The problem is that you don't have a PCV valve. I'm sorry, not PCV valve. The port injection. Port injection means it basically sprayed the gas in the backside of the intake valve, and that went into the chamber, and that's when it exploded, right? Direct injection, because it's supposed to be more efficient, puts fuel directly into the combustion chamber. The problem is the backside of those intake valves don't get the gasoline on them. Gasoline is a solvent and breaks down the carbon.
Yeah.
So the PCV valve, the carbon would get on the backside of the valve, but the port injection would dissolve that carbon. Everything would just burn up inside the combustion chamber.
Yeah.
Without the port injection, though, the carbon that comes through the PCV valve, that recirculation of the carbon, gets on the backside of the intake valve and it sticks. Now, what happens when the carbon buildup gets too much? The valve doesn't close all the way. Well, then you get more junk in the engine, and then all of a sudden it just grenades.
Yeah.
And the only reason, because it happened with my Buick. I had a 2010 Buick Enclave with that 3.5 or 3.6 liter engine with direct injection and no port injection. Every brand, I believe, except for Toyota, does direct injection without port injection. Toyota is the only one that does port and direct injection, which is why Toyotas don't have that problem. Now, the recommended maintenance to get rid of that problem is at every 40 or 50,000 miles, you get the backside of those injectors cleaned off.
So you have to take the
header off. Or some people are saying now they have solvents now that just you could spray in there without taking the header off.
Right. Well, you at least have to take the valve train cover off.
Was it the intake manifold? That's what I'm sorry, not the header, the intake manifold.
Yeah.
So basically, you can spray in. It's not seafoam. It's like some newer stuff, I guess. But you can spray it on the back of those things. They let it soak. But even then, they got to get in there and scrub it, or they take the intake manifold off and they walnut blast it. Now the walnut blasting, I checked it out, and this was probably 4 years ago. I think it cost like $600. So it's not that expensive. I mean, think about it. On a Honda, at 105,000 miles, you're supposed to replace the water pump, serpentine belts, and some other belt. There's like a major maintenance you do. It costs you about $1,000, and you do it every 100,000 miles. Well, if I got to do this thing every 50,000 miles for $600, it's almost the same.
Yeah.
You know, but they don't tell you about it. That's the problem. Like in Hondas, they tell you that that's the recommended maintenance,
right?
To do those things specifically. Nobody's telling anybody with these direct injected engines that this is necessary for them to do. And it's why you talk to any mechanic, they'll tell you that 3.6 liter or 3.5 liter GM engine with direct injection is shit. I mean, in fact, there's a guy on YouTube called the Car Wizard. Anyone who's familiar with like Hoovie's Garage will be familiar with him.
Is he the guy that Hoovie takes the cars to?
Yeah, with the big beard.
Yeah.
He's got the Ninja and the Car Wizard.
Yeah.
The Ninja does his BMWs, and Car Wizard does everything else. And he talks about it. So he's got his own channel, and he talks about that engine combination on the GMs, the Lambda vehicles. Says they're complete fucking shit.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, though. I love that Buick.
So, first of all, that Buick, everything from that generation, I guess that was the first generation of that platform that you had.
Yeah, the first one came out in 2008.
Yeah, so Traverse,
Outlook, Enclave, and Acadia.
yes. Beautiful car. Beautiful. They just look good. And I think the Buick was the best looking of all of them.
It's more bubbly.
Yeah.
I tended to like the Denali, the Acadia one.
Yeah.
A little more boxy, but whatever.
Yeah. But they're very nice looking cars, comfortable. They rode nice. A buddy of mine had a Traverse, and like, again, it was one that you could just kill miles in. But it felt like a minivan.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like a truck at all. Because it wasn't. But
It wasn't. It was a minivan.
yeah. But yeah, it's a shame that those engines were such junk. That's almost par for the course for GM.
It really is.
Unfortunately.
To be honest,
So-
it sucks though because they used to they had that 3800. Was it the 38 and the 3600?
So it was a 3800 pushrod V6. It was a monster. It was a beast. They were.
But it was reliable as hell.
Yeah. Now and there's it's old technology. It's pushrods, but
But it would run for
yes,
decades.
yeah. You still see them out there all over the place.
I
See an
actually-
old Impala, not the cool like '96 Impala SS, but the '06 Impala.
Right.
We'll have that, and they were pretty powerful. They used to put those in the that was the base engine in like the fourth gen Camaro was the 3.8.
They put that in everything. They put it in like the Buick Roadmasters, the LeSabres,
Yep.
the LaCrosses, the what else? The only reason why I know about the Buicks is because I like Buick, but
Then they had the 4.6.
Pontiacs.
Yep. Then there was the 4.6, that was essentially just a 350 with two cylinders lopped off of it. But yeah, there's some good.
those are reliable engines.
Yeah.
I mean, and you think about like the old Vortex and the 06 and prior Tahoes
Yeah.
and Escalades and all that
Yeah.
stuff before they went to like cylinder deactivation,
Yeah.
which killed engines as well.
Well, and they had done cylinder deactivation like way back in the day. They had it was called the 468 diesel, and it was a gas block with diesel heads, and it was an absolute piece of garbage. And but it was done at, they'd put it in like the old B body sedans, and it was just junk. It was just absolute crap. It was after the fuel crisis. And they kind of did the same thing with cylinder deactivation because they're trying. So, like when the government makes rate for fleet, they'll do like when they say we want to have all vehicles have minimum 30 mile per hour or 30 miles per gallon EPA highway rating. Well, you know that you're never going to get a truck to be at that mileage. But it's an average of their fleet mileage.
Right.
So what they're doing is they figure if they know that they're going to sell however many thousands of Tahoes, if they have cylinder deactivation, that'll lower the fuel, that'll at least contribute to lowering that number. Just like, when they do the whatever stupid hybrid they come out with or whatever, the EV1, that weird looking stupid thing.
Awful.
That you couldn't even own it. Like they took them all back and destroyed them. I think there's like one that survived, and GM owns it. It's not even in private hands. But like all that, it's just designed to lower their overall fleet mileage.
Yeah, I mean that's why. I mean, like now I guess like with the F-150 Lightnings, the Mach-E.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why they're doing these things.
Yeah.
It's not because people are really dying for an electric vehicle.
Yeah. And the thing is with the electric cars, though, you have the greenies who think that they're, first of all, it's just really expensive virtue signaling, because unless your power grid is powered by a nuclear power plant or hydro or wind and solar, which that's a coal powered car. And people think, oh, there's no emissions. Oh, there's emissions.
Right, it's just not coming from your tailpipe.
Yeah, it's coming from someplace else. And like, I don't think they realize, like, if you were to replace all of the internal combustion engines with electric, the type of load that would put on the power grid.
Well, not just that though. And they've done studies on it. Don't get me wrong. Electric vehicles like a Tesla is more environmentally friendly than a gas-powered engine.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you take into consideration the amount of mining that has to be done,
And transportation and all that.
I'm talking like mining for the lithium.
Yeah.
And some, but the problem is there isn't enough lithium to make every car electric.
Yeah.
Like they're having major issues. Like there was I watched a YouTube video on lithium mining in the United States. I believe there's one in Texas, but there's a huge lithium deposit, I believe I want to say it's Nevada, in a mountain range. Trying to get approval to mine that area, but then also the logistics of getting the lithium out.
Yeah.
Not mining it,
Now, isn't
but
there
transporting it.
You've talked about a better battery technology, though.
Yeah, so there's one, right? There's a something called graphene, and anyone just Google or YouTube graphene. There's that, which is supposed to be a better battery, but there's some other battery technology out there that is much less volatile than even the lithium ion polymers. That would be much safer to put in cars. But unfortunately, just like every other industry, there is lobbying behind certain types of technology. For example, like the VHS versus beta test case, where beta was the better technology, but VHS won the PR war, and they eventually knocked beta out completely.
Yeah.
But beta was the better technology.
Well, remember it was DVD, and what was the other one? DivX or something?
So there was DivX and there was DVD, and then there was Blu-ray, and HD DVD was the next thing up, and
DivX wasn't DivX like it would deteriorate over.
That was they always said DivX. You couldn't put as high quality of an image on DivX as you could on a DVD. Was that true? I don't know.
Yeah,
I know in the streaming world, like DivX, like if there's a DivX copy or XVid, like nobody wants it.
Yeah, but the thing is, like now it doesn't matter. So it's another thing the Simpsons got right when they had it was like beta. There's a pile of reserved for DVDs at the junkyard, and they nailed it.
Speaking of the Simpsons, I'm not here to give gambling advice whatsoever. But the Simpsons predicted that the Bengals would play an LA team in the Super Bowl. And they predicted the score was going to be 34-31 for the Bengals.
Okay.
So I'm going to place a $50 bet on that exact score, 34-31. I think the odds are plus 8,000. So on my $50 bet, I think I'd win $4,000 on it.
Well, by the time this show airs, we're going to know. So.
Actually, that's true, right? Oh no! So anyone who tries to get in on that's not going to be able to.
Yeah.
Oh,
shame on you when Alex is making it rain.
You'll know if I won or not.
When he shows up with gold-plated Versace sunglasses.
Get my gold grill. I'll get my teeth in. But yeah, no, but I mean, going back to the inflation part of things with the cars. Yeah, the funny part with the cars in particular, and because this goes back to 2019, it's 2022. 3 years into this huge inflation for cars, all of the experts and whatnot said, "Oh, just wait it out. Just wait it out. Just wait it out." Some people can't wait it out for 3 years.
Yeah, if your car dies,
like mine did, yeah,
you can't wait it out. So, and then if you're in a position where, okay, this thing's so old, how much more money do I put into it? But other countries, like look at Cuba. Like, they've been keeping those old, it's like 55 Chevys and stuff rolling around there. Now, it's a different situation because they're the embargoes and all that. But
it's also different tech. I mean, like, these cars, so we've got, the limited model, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more tech in that car.
Oh, yeah.
If this were, let's say it was just even like what's the Buick? The Buick LeSabre with the 3800 GM engine in it.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much technology in that thing. Parts are readily available. Nothing's really costing more than $1,000 to fix on that thing. And that's probably high. You can keep that car running for a lot less than I can on this 2013 Ford Edge, in which almost anything mechanically anything electronically would probably grenade the thing.
Yeah.
Because there's so much run by the electronics in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I would almost feel more comfortable with like a mid '90s Buick LeSabre or something.
Yeah.
Than I would with what I got now.
Well, the thing is, if you're willing to get rid of the tech part of it, so my old beater car was an '04 Ford Taurus, and if the transmission didn't take a crap out of it, I'd still have it. And I drove that thing for 6 years. So 6 years of no payment was great.
Right.
That thing was, and engine ran smooth. It wasn't the prettiest car, but who cares? It takes me back and forth to work. I'm beyond the stage where I'm trying to impress people with a car.
Right.
And it's one of those, it's like the catch-22. Like, I don't try to impress people with a car, whatever, but if I do try to impress with a car, then I'm automatically a douchebag. So
I'm opposite though. Like, for me, it's not impressing someone else. For me, when I'm sitting in the car, I want to feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to feel like I'm in a place I want to be.
Yeah. No, I was comfortable in my Taurus.
Yeah.
It had those nice, like, plush seats.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was... the other thing about the older cars, though, like, they have the bigger greenhouse. They're more open.
Yeah, it feels like a bigger car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I'd like to get a truck. Now, I would look for one of those, GM Vortex, a 350.
Right.
Because there's parts. We've talked about it before. There's parts everywhere. They're all over the place. They run great. The interior might be crap. And the thing is, I don't really care about the tech. I don't need my car to tell me all the, is in-dash nav nice? Yeah, it's nice, but my wife's car has it, and I use my phone.
You can get, I always tell people that, like, my brother-in-law asked me, he wanted a big SUV.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, well, what should I get? And I was like, to be honest with you, get a 2006, either Chevy Tahoe, LTZ,
mm-hmm.
or the 2006 Cadillac Escalade.
Yeah.
And the reason why I said that, because the engine and transmission in that thing are bulletproof.
Yep.
Like you said, the interior, the buttons on the radio might go, but you want to know what? You're probably going to replace that radio anyway.
Yeah.
Get a touchscreen for $600-700, and you have all the technology you need now.
Yeah.
You got your Bluetooth, your nav, everything. Your Android Auto, Apple CarPlay will be in there too. Probably get it wireless, which is better than what most cars are doing now anyway.
Yeah.
You can get... People always say, well, the leather rips or this. I'll be honest with you. You can redo the upholstery on the front and back seats. $1,000.
Yeah. And I've seen on the gram, on Insta, they got a bunch of people advertising doing that. It's not ungodly expensive to do.
So what I'm saying is, like, you can get an old one, 100,000 miles, which is nothing for that engine and the transmission.
Yeah.
You put $2,000 into it.
Mm-hmm.
One for the upholstery, so your seats look like new. Two, another $1,000 for an in-dash nav system with your Apple CarPlay or your Android Auto.
Mm-hmm.
And that car has all the tech that a new car does. Will run like a charm.
Yeah.
And you get a brand new interior.
Yep.
I mean, but the problem is right now, though, that 2006 Chevy Tahoe LTZ or whatever. So, and the reason why I say LTZ is because you get the steering wheel controls.
Yeah.
For the radio. The problem with that is that car right now, that SUV, is going for like $11,000.
Yeah.
12 grand. But for me, 12 grand for that is probably better value than 15 grand for a 2014, 15, 16 Chevy Traverse.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on it. I could be wrong, but I think any mechanic would probably agree with me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where it's like, where you have to fight the wife on, like, oh, that car's too old. Well, there's a reason why people are still zipping around in 737s.
Yeah.
I think it made its first flight in the 60s.
I mean, to me,
And they've been flying around because now granted they're still not flying around in the 200 model, but it's very similar to, to that old school stuff because it works.
Southwest made a business out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm just looking for an old truck. And then when you start getting into trucks, pickup trucks, it goes up even more. You can get a Tahoe for a lot less than you can get a Silverado.
I'll be honest. So for me, if I was looking for a truck, I'd be looking for like 04 to 06 Ford F-150.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be tough to find a quad cab.
Yeah.
But you could probably find an extended cab for like $4 or $5 grand.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to. The thing is, though, you got to look outside of this area.
Mm-hmm.
You got to look on the Eastern Shore.
Yep.
Because that's where they're not expecting big money.
Yeah, and the thing is with trucks is once you get to if you just need like a work truck
mm-hmm.
and you're willing to go standard cab 2-wheel drive, you can find them all over the place. Especially if you don't care about
go to government auction.
Yeah. You don't care about interior packages and like you just want something to run to the dump in.
Vinyl seats and plastic floors.
Yeah. Like you might even be able to get one with a plow.
Right. Right.
Make some money in the wintertime or sell it to somebody who wants to.
Right.
The thing with trucks is trucks have kind of become, remember back in the day you had like the personal luxury coupe, like the Thunderbirds and the big cat Mercury Cougars and stuff like that, Monte Carlos,
the Buick Riviera.
Yeah. Yep. Well, now trucks have kind of replaced that. That's like dad's car is the truck.
Right.
And because now they have the quad cads in them, they're become like if you have 3 little kids or 2 kids, you can go on a long trip in that thing. Like there's no problem with that. What's the difference between doing that and then going in the Ford Edge? You're probably actually going to be more comfortable in a full size truck than you would in an Edge.
Does that second row recline in a truck? Because you got the truck bed right behind you.
So it's not straight up and down.
Right.
There is space back there, so it isn't an angle. Now, Dodge and Toyota had the Super Crew.
Mm-hmm.
So it was even bigger. So like my buddy had a Tundra Super Crew. So it's a 4-door truck, legit 4 full-size doors. And there's like another 8 inches behind the rear seat.
I remember the Dodge with that.
Yeah. So the only thing is now you're giving up bed space.
To me, the bed space is less important. I mean, because the bed itself, for stuff that I would do, is plenty big.
Right. Now, right.
The 6-foot bed. It's plenty big enough.
The cargo that most Americans haul in their trucks, which is air, yeah, it's absolutely fine.
Right.
Now, if you want to put, 4x8 sheets of plywood in there, it's going to hang out the back. But a lot of them come with the lift gate, and then they have that little cage thing that goes around it to make it bigger. But most people, like if you're going to get a load of mulch, a front end loader can dump a load of mulch into a 6-foot bed. But until you get, now if you're going to go like F-250, now you can get the quad cab and the 8-foot bed, and it is a monster.
Yeah.
Like if you
can't park,
playing bumper cars all over the parking lot of Green Valley with it, So
I hate those dudes that have those trucks, and they park, like they'll park in that row against the building at downtown Arnold, Arnold over there, and like the back end sticking out like 3 feet,
dude, just
in
go
the
out.
middle.
Yeah,
it's like, dude, go take up 2 spots in the middle row, please.
Yeah, pretend you have a school bus.
Right.
But
I don't want to walk that far. Get out of here with your big ass vehicle.
Right. You could probably stand to walk an extra 10 feet. It'd probably be good for you.
But literally can't get 2 cars can't get by him.
Yeah,
because he's sticking out so far.
Yeah, or they don't pull into the spot deep enough.
And he's usually the jerk off that has to back in.
Yeah. So I love backing in.
Oh, forget it.
With cameras, dude, I'm a backing in fool. I love it.
It takes too long. It takes too long. Especially some of these guys.
Well,
they take forever.
Well, some of these people I watch them drive and they're backing. I'm like, you haven't mastered driving forwards yet. Stop, reverse. Just stop it.
You're not bi-directional yet. You don't have a license to go two ways.
Yeah. So
You're a one direction individual.
yeah, I used to drive a mattress truck, man. I could whip a little SUV or minivan in anywhere. Sometimes, depending on your approach angle, it's easier just to back it in because you're too. If you're too close, if you're say you have the open spots on the right and you're too close, because you probably are going to be, because if you're sticking to the right, the easiest way is to just swing it left and back in, rather than trying to cut all the way left and then cut all the way back right to pull in forward. I'll just back that thing right in.
I just can't. It's that the guy that takes forever to back into a spot is the guy with the F-250 who's driving in the left lane. But like I just taking his time.
Yeah.
But when you try and pass him on the right, all of a sudden you get the lead foot. He speeds up. Mm-hmm. Like, by the way, so obviously, I mean, I just took that trip to Florida. There's too many of those people out there. Like, look, it's not a personal affront to you if I want to go faster than you.
Yeah, what do you care?
Right. It's not. I'm not personally attacking you. You don't then need to speed up so I can't get by you.
See, and that's the thing. Like, I'm not a speed demon. Like, I set my cruise at everywhere except Virginia. So Virginia, I set at 5 over. Mm-hmm. And if some Virginia trooper is gonna jump out on me at 5 over, then it's just my day. Like, you really have nothing better to do. Like, it's just my day. But if I'm going anywhere else, I set it at 9 over.
I do 9 over everywhere,
and I just cruise. I have my cruise control on. Like, I'd love to have I'm not an anti-electric car person. I'd love to have like autopilot like Tesla has, and just set it at 9 over and just turn my brain off. Just make sure we're not hitting things. I'm not going to take a nap or read the paper, but I think people are making a mistake. Like, oh, the car just a pilot still flies the airplane when it's on autopilot. Like, they still have to be aware of stuff. So, that's what I'd want to do, but I can't do that because there's some idiot that is going too slow in the right lane, or they're just going too slow. Like, just stay out. Just, if you want to do 55, great, do it in the right lane, the far right lane.
Right.
You go as slow as you want over there. Don't do it in the left.
Well, so then you get the guy. You get the guy who the right lane is going 55, going the speed limit, or 65, whatever it is, going the speed limit, fine, or whatever.
Yeah.
63, I don't care. The guy in the left lane has his cruise control set like 2 miles an hour above him. So it takes him forever to get by.
Turn the cruise off and pass, dude.
Right. Speed up, get in front of him, get back over. You're back on your cruise.
Yeah, there's this little button that says RES.
Yeah,
that means resume.
Yeah, you're not holding up the 12 cars behind you because you want to take your time and you don't want to have to touch buttons. Blows my mind.
Yeah.
Now, as far that autopilot thing, so the Edge that we took down to Florida has adaptive cruise control.
Okay.
Now, my wife usually drives this car.
Yeah.
So I'm not really handy with it, right? Mm-hmm. Know how to use it, but don't really use it because I haven't been in the car that much. Now we're on this long trip. Set the cruise control. You set your gap distance with how close you want it to follow. Mm-hmm. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know if I'd ever get a car without it. Not that I'm driving long distances a lot, but let's say that guy in the guy in the left-hand lane going a little slower. Mm-hmm. My adaptive cruise control,
it just keeps you right there.
It gets up to the distance between the car that you set it at, mm-hmm. and it just hangs on until he gets out of the way, and then it resumes whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even have to hit the resume button anymore. It just, I swear to God, I must have told my wife like 4 times. I go, this is the best invention ever. Best. I'm so glad I live in the future.
And she's like, what are you talking about? Yeah. So my in-laws they just got rid of it. They had because they had a Subaru Outback. They had the adaptive cruise. It had these like little cameras up near the rear.
They have an elaborate system. Yeah. With Subis.
And it was it brakes for you too, mm-hmm. which is cool.
So does this.
Yeah.
It was like you could feel it.
Yeah. It doesn't steer for you.
No, this didn't either.
Yeah, and I think some people think like with autopilot, like you just tell it where to go and it goes there. Like it doesn't get off of highways and stuff, you know.
Apparently, it doesn't do all the driving either, because like they've got instances where this thing like was driving into objects, like trucks. Like, you know what?
But see, that's where you have to be awake and alert.
Right.
And they say, well, who's at fault? The driver.
Mm-hmm.
If an airliner flies into a mountain when it's on autopilot, who's at fault? The pilot.
Right.
Because he was sleeping, you know, or getting a blowy from somebody. Like whatever he was doing, it wasn't flying.
whatever his cup of tea was that day. Yeah.
So, you know, but I think people they just rely too much on it and on the technology and think, oh, it's going to do everything for me. And you know, you're still responsible for it. You know, well, I'm going to sue Tesla because my car crashed. And you crashed it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, in your opinion, do you think car prices, let's say supply shoots up.
Mm-hmm.
Now that dealers know what prices they can get, do you think prices actually come back down? Or do you think they just level off?
Well, I think eventually, if we get back to, so there's two factors here. So you have the one factor where, like right now, they just blew a whole ton of free cash into the economy. So people had all this money to spend on nonsense. And then you had a supply chain issue. So you had two things going at once.
Right.
I think both of which are going to run into, I'm not going to say a depression, but I think there's going to be some recessive things happening.
Right.
So once that happens and people don't have the free cash that was just blown in and the inflation catches up to everyone, then it's going to slow down. But then if the supply chain kicks back up, I don't think they're going to get to a point where they're going to say, hey, we're just not going to make any of these cars. Because then really what you're doing is you're kind of in a trust situation there.
Right.
If all the auto manufacturers get together and say, hey, we want to keep prices high, so we're just not going to make cars, that's a trust. You know, and
yeah, but I mean, I'm not saying
it should be against the law. It is, but whether they enforce it or not. And granted, I'm no finance guy, or economist, but I think that at some point it's going to return to normal. It might not return to, you know, 10 grand off and 0% financing for 100 years, but that was just tricks that like General Motors would do to move cars.
Right.
So they would throw in. If you were between, say, a Traverse and a Pilot, and Honda was offering 1.9 and no rebates, but GM is giving you $5,000 off and 0%, is the Pilot the better vehicle? Probably, but look at this financing, and a lot of people shop cars based upon payment,
right? Yeah,
which is not the way to do it at all. But people, because really that's the impact, is how much is this going to cost me per month?
Right.
So, and can I afford to make that payment? So I think that eventually it is going to come back to some state of normalcy. But it's all but the other problem is like, we don't make any of this crap here. And when are we going to learn? I don't think we ever are.
I think it depends on the industry. I think that, apparently they're supposed to be building some chip plants in this country. Like they're supposed to be online next year.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know Foxconn was building one in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And maybe in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Industries like the furniture industry never really had a problem because they make all of it in North Carolina for the most part anyway.
Yeah.
I just think it depends on the industry. Like, I know, for example, like in the computer industry, graphics cards are still through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
CPUs went up. They still haven't really they've come back down a little bit, but they're still much higher than they were even 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Hard drives went up through the roof because of that stupid Chia cryptocurrency that was using hard drives versus GPUs. But those are starting to come back down. Like the prices have regressed back from the highs. I think with cars, my thing was not that the manufacturers were kind of like repress the supply, just that the dealers know that, hey, look, if we don't drop these prices, people are going to pay it.
Yeah.
because they were paying it before. Or maybe, for the Kia Telluride, rather than that $48,000 vehicle, rather than charging $58,000, well, we can still charge that $48,000 MSRP and just not discount it. Mm-hmm. And it'll look like the price went down.
Yeah.
But it didn't.
But then here's the other thing. When the dealers want to move, so the Telluride's a popular vehicle, just like the Palisade, and I'm gonna throw the Carnival or Carnival or however they're pronouncing it into that.
Yep.
And there are others. When something new comes out, stupid Jeeps. Sorry,
my brother loves Jeeps. I don't get it.
It's a Jeep. Especially once they got away from the inline six. It's like, it's just a regular stupid V6. It's nothing special. And it rides like shit. So
the old Jeeps had much more appeal to me.
Yeah.
Not when I say older, I mean like early 2000s.
It used to be like, if you saw a Jeep, like in order to be a legit Jeep, it had to be a manual.
Right.
Now, what's the percentage of, I guarantee it's more automatics.
Right.
So, and the four-door stupid, and then Jeep bros have to park all dumb. Like, oh, I parked on the curb. Hey, I can do the same thing with the Sienna. Good job. But, like stuff like that, or like when Toyota came out with this version of the Tacoma, it was some TRD version that people were paying all kinds of stupid money for. It was a trim package.
Right.
And it had like a skid plate on it. Stuff like that, I think will stay up, but stuff like that's going to stay high anyway. But eventually they're going to want to get, they're going to have to move, because the Kia dealership isn't given all Palisade or Tellurides.
Telluride, yeah.
They have to sell
Fortes and
Optimas and whatever. They have to sell all that stuff too.
Right.
That stuff will get rebated just like anything else.
Yeah.
The unpopular, the 2-wheel drive standard cab truck that they had to take, that'll get rebated. We got to move this thing on, because they're paying for that truck month. They're paying to keep it.
Right. Yeah.
So they're going to want to move it. At a certain point, now you're paying for that inventory to start to eat into your, bottom line. You got to sell it to get rid of it, and that's when the rebates come in. So
we're running a little long. I just want to talk about one more thing.
Yeah.
Because we're on the topic of cars. And this is going to be real quick. I can't believe Toyota did this. But have you seen the new SUV they came out with?
Which one?
It's called the Corolla Cross.
Oh, it's so stupid.
Even if that SUV is great, it's a small SUV. It's basically a lifted Corolla wagon.
Right. So it's like a Pontiac vibe?
Pretty much.
With all-wheel drive?
Yep. But my pet peeve with this thing, one, don't call it a Corolla. A Corolla is a compact 4-door sedan.
Like when Mitsubishi came out with this stupid
Eclipse Cross. That's exactly what I thought about.
Yeah.
Like, why? It didn't work for Mitsubishi.
Right.
That thing looked like absolute garbage.
Yeah.
This is a decent looking SUV.
Just call it something else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, you got a whole bunch of other stupid names.
Because it used to be the Toyota, it was the Corolla,
yeah,
which was the sedan, and the Toyota Matrix, which was like the wagony, and Pontiac sold that as the Vibe.
Right.
So just call it the Matrix again.
Right. Right. Like, why? Why would you... I don't know why it annoys me so much. Other than, like, I know a ton of people are going to buy these things, and it's going to be a Corolla Cross.
Right. And then what also annoys me about it, while we're in our get off my lawn moment, is so you've got the Toyota Corolla, and of course they market every car to millennials.
Yeah.
Even though millennials don't have money to buy anything. Mostly because their parents are morons and have ruined the economy. Anyway, so, and they went and they majored in underwater basket weaving at NYU,
yes,
and they're in up to their eyeballs in student loan debt.
Yep.
But the commercials for it are super annoying.
Yep.
Because it's a bunch of these or whatever comes after millennials doing that stupid glitch dance, and they're all like...
Okay.
It's annoying.
You want to know the most annoying car commercial right now? The GMC Sierra one. where the guy turns on the autopilot thing, basically, and then they start doing the "We Will Rock You."
Yes.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Okay. No.
Yeah.
No. You got a truck commercial. You don't do this to that.
I know that guy, and then there's the guy that's showing the lift gate thing on. Now I do like the cat, Walter. So it's I think it's GM. So the guy's driving around, he does all these crazy things, and he has this cat that does things. Like the cat acts like a dog. Like the cat rescues someone stuck in an avalanche.
I haven't seen this one. I got to watch it.
Oh yeah. So like the very last shot is the guy will say, whoever the cat has helped. He'll be like, that's amazing. And he's like, yeah, it's a GM, it's a 2,500 Denali. Yeah, it's cool. He goes, no, I mean the cat. He goes, Walter? He's just a cat. So I do like Walter the cat.
Yeah.
But nothing, I guess we probably wrap it up on this one, is more annoying than the Chevy focus group commercials.
Yes, but that also spawned
The YouTube guy. He's like, the guy from Boston, he's like, let me guess, a piece of shit car. What color is that? Burnt rust?
GM should have taken those commercials and made those the real commercials. They would have sold a lot more of those cars.
People say that millennials are all the same. What, you all look like douchebags? You got tattoos? Yep.
Whoever wrote those commercials is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. Please go to the dumbideapodcast.com. Click on the right side for private internet access to get your VPN subscription started today. And we will see you next time.